Okay, is this thing on? This is Mr. Woodward. This is a screencast to give you an overview of this handout, which is an overview. And so I'm going to hit the highlights and flesh some things out for you. If you have questions after looking at this screencast, you can send me questions, but you might also look at the other screencast for this assignment first. It starts with a cartoon, which is just meant to symbolize the assignment. If you want to get a grasp of the assignment just in a nutshell, look at the rhetorical situation that talks about purpose, audience, and topic. So the purpose of the piece of writing that you're to produce is to vividly recreate and reflect deeply upon a personal experience. You're meant to target an audience of first-year students in your major. And so, of course, you need to think of an event that's of interest to them, that you can make interesting to them. And so in terms of topic for this assignment, we're talking about a specific event that you experienced or observed firsthand, that you witnessed. Of course, specific event means not something that happened over the course of months or weeks, but something that happened primarily, at least, in a single day. So you can focus closely on a short time period and describe it vividly. And so purpose, purpose, audience, and topic are put into, are combined in this sentence. In a memoir, the writer's purpose is to revisit a significant event, drawing details from memory with such vividness that readers virtually experience the event themselves, and reflecting deeply upon the event so that readers understand its significance. All right. So that's it in a nutshell. Organization, it's pure narrative, so you have to sort of ignore your urges to start your academic paper with an overview, with a general introduction of the topic. But you need to just jump right into the story instead of having that sort of introduction and not having that kind of conclusion that gives an overview of everything in general terms, but having a conclusion that's the end of the story. So, you're organizing your memoir the way that the writers in David Starkey's chapter organized theirs. He showed you Life Rower and Hoyas Voladoras and Jesus Shaves. Those are pure narratives. Now, they were organized in different ways, but they were pretty much pure story. And when you read Amanda Coyne's The Long Goodbye, you'll see the same thing. She has a topic, but she doesn't generalize about it at the beginning or at the end. She just tells you about an experience that relates to the topic. Length, that's approximate, using standard font sizes and margins and all that. You should be around 3 to 5 pages, double-spaced. Your first draft might be shorter or longer, and you can revise to get it to the appropriate length. Research is not required. That doesn't mean you can't do research, but you shouldn't have to. Your primary focus is on something you witnessed or experienced, and so you don't look things up for that sort of thing. But then again, Amanda Coyne, her essays about Mother's Day in a federal prison, and she may have done a little research to get her facts straight on what the sentencing guidelines are for drug offenders and so on, because her essay has to do with that. So you might end up doing a little research. You certainly don't have to. If you do, you have to document it properly. The process we're going to go through in writing this, in general terms, you're going to pre-write, write, and rewrite. The particular steps are, I'm going to have you do this pre-writing guide, and there'll be a screencast about that as well. That lets you make some decisions and lets you tell other people what your decisions are and your plans for the memoir. And so people can give you feedback on what you're setting out to do, and if there's certain things you should keep in mind. So you get feedback from me and from a few classmates on your pre-writing guide. I've listed some things that are not required by the pre-writing guide, but that you might want to do that can be useful, especially if you're having trouble getting started. so I think those are self-explanatory. Drafting, of course, is where you set out to write the memoir. And keep in mind, we're going to work through a few drafts. Revising is where you're not worried in revising, you're not worried about spelling and smaller things like that, but you're thinking more about the whole piece and the different parts of it and how they fit together. Do you want to organize it differently? That would be revision. Do you want to add more of this or that? That would be revision. And you're going to help each other with that. Editing is where you're looking at sentences, trying to make them clear and correct so you get your message across. And we'll focus on that, and you'll help each other with that as well. Plagiarism risk assessment, every assignment, the possibilities and risks for plagiarism vary from assignment to assignment. And so in this case, I guess you might stumble across, if you're a nursing student, for example, and you're writing about something that you witnessed during clinicals, you might stumble across some other nurse's personal account of a similar experience, and you might think, well, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to write. And you could read those things, and you could see the strategies that they used, and you could be inspired by them, but you have to make sure you don't borrow heavily from them or, of course, copy parts of them or anything like that. So in the case of this assignment, that's what you have to be careful about. Alright, so like I said, your next move, you might want to look at the screencast for the rubric, which also gives you kind of an overview of what we're doing with this assignment. I'll talk to you later.